Hi everybody, thanks for tuning in for Core Yoga. My name is Erica and I'm with UMBC Recreation. If you're new to this class, you've never taken yoga before, it's structured much like any exercise class where we start with a slow warm-up. We target the core, so we start to warm up the core. We move into a flow, so we pick up a little bit of speed in our practice. We become a little more mobile around the mat, and then we end with a cool down where we finish on our back with a final rest period for about 2 to 3 minutes in stillness to sort of let the benefits absorb from the class, focus less on our bodies and more on our minds and what's inside, because yoga is not just about the physical, it's also about the mental and the spiritual as well. With that being said, I want to remind everyone to always listen to your body. Don't let your ego get in the way of your practice, meaning practice for yourself and your body and no one else's. If you need to take breaks, if you need to modify, please do so. Don't feel like you have to do something just because I offer it. And always make sure to check with the doctor before you start a new exercise regimen. So today we're going to get started in a seated position, facing the front of the mat. And we're going to start with some nice deep breaths, so nice and easy. Deepening the breath. Drawing the breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Nice cleansing breaths. Relieving stress from the body and helping to clear the mind. A few more deep breaths right here. And then resume your normal breath. Extend your legs down the front of the mat. Put a slight bend in the knee, keeping heels on the floor and flexing the feet. Lengthen the spine towards the ceiling. Lift your arms overhead, stretch nice and long on the sides of your body, and fall into a fold, dropping your belly to your thighs, arms at your sides, head gazing down towards the legs. Keep the spine long, even here. Chest is reaching forward. If the belly isn't touching the thighs, bend the knees, drawing them in closer to the body. If the belly is already touching the thighs, but you'd like some more sensation in the legs, you can wiggle the hips back a little bit. Just don't lose that contact of belly to thighs. Helps to protect the low back. And deepen the breath here as we lengthen the spine and get a nice stretch on the back side of the legs. Nice and slow, we'll lift the spine upright and come into Baddha Konasana, bringing the bottoms of the feet together, lengthening the spine once again up towards the ceiling, and taking some deep breaths into our chest. The closer the heels are to the body, the more your sensation you'll feel in the hips. If you need a little less sensation, slide those heels away. And just focus on your breath. We relieve tension from the hips. Move into a cross-leg position. And spinal twist to the right, placing right hand directly behind you and left in front, gazing to the back of the room. Still keeping with that steady breathing. As we open the chest a little bit, working a little bit more with the spine. Slowly unwind and spinal twist to the left. Right hand directly in front this time. Still gazing to the back of the room. And even here, we're sort of preparing the belly for our core work today as we add a twist. Slowly unwind and return to center. And come to a tabletop position on your hands and your knees, wrists stacked under shoulders and knees stacked underneath your hips. Lift up to the tips of the fingers and round the spine into cat pose, tucking chin to chest. Then lift and arch the spine, gazing up towards the ceiling. We'll take this a few times back and forth, rounding the spine Lifting and arching, just moving at your own pace. Loosening the muscles around the spine. And relax back into a tabletop position. Stay up on the tips of the fingers. Lift your right or your left arm, up to the ceiling and thread the needle. So passing that arm through the space on the right, dropping down to the shoulder, cheek to mat. And the right arm can relax, so shoulder relaxes away from the ears. And we'll take a few breaths here. Stretching the shoulders. Still giving a little twist for our belly. Using your right hand, press yourself back to tabletop and up to the tips of the fingers. Right arm extends up to the ceiling this time, and we'll thread the needle, passing it through the left, lowering down to the shoulder and our cheek. And breathing here into the stretch. Use your left hand to press you back into tabletop, and again, lift up to the tips of the fingers. Extend your right leg behind you, pointing through the toes, keeping heel in line with hip, in line with shoulders. And remove any curve you have in the low back, so draw the belly in towards the spine. Give me a crunch, drawing right knee to chest, rounding the spine, lifting the belly in, lifting the knee high, and then extend the leg for me one more time so we can get a feel for that again. Give me a crunch, knee to chest, round the spine, belly in, lift the knee as high as you can and step the foot into lunge, ankle right below the knee. If you can't do that hands free, grab the foot and put it there manually. Left toes are uncurled, top of the foot to the mat. Slowly lift your right arm up towards the ceiling, twisting from the belly, opening the chest. Right foot stays flat to the mat, nice and grounded. Nice and slow, challenging the balance a little bit. We're going to lift the left fingers off the mat as well, lifting the spine upright, bringing your arms to shoulder height. Draw the belly in, squeezing back to the spine. Then left fingers come down to the mat, right arm up to the sky, and then right arm lowers down. We're going to do that 2 more times, a little bit faster and cohesive. Right arm lifts to the ceiling. Start to draw the belly in now. Float the left fingers off the mat, lifting the spine, arms and shoulder height, belly squeezing in. Then left hand down and right hand down. Last time, tying it in with the breath. Inhaling nice and slow, right arm up, left arm up. And then exhale, hands come down one at a time. Extend your right leg behind you, pointing through the toes, and return to tabletop. We'll do that on the opposite side. Left leg extends, draw the belly in. Give me 1 crunch, knee to chest, round the spine, knee high, and then extend the leg behind you once again. Give me a crunch, knee to chest. Draw that knee up nice and high and step the foot or place the foot into lunge. Left arm lifts up to the ceiling, draw the belly in. Right fingers float off the mat. And then we come down 1 hand at a time. Second time, left arm up, right arm up. And hands down, 1 at a time. Last time, drawing the breath in as we lift the arms up, lifting the chest. Slowly exhaling, returning hands to mat. Extend your left leg behind you, pointing through your toes, and return to tabletop. Settle into child's, bringing hips to heels, extending arms down the length of the mat, pressing forehead to mat. And we'll finish our warm-up here with a few moments of stillness. Maybe you already feel the core sort of waking up, putting in a little bit of work. If you're uncomfortable in child's position for any reason, take a look up here. Try coming back to tabletop and lowering down to puppy. So elbows to mat, palms face down, and head relaxes. Either puppy or child's pose will be your rest period throughout the class. You're more than welcome to take either one at any time. You don't have to wait for me to get there. Finish up this stillness with one last deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Then slowly rise to a tabletop position. Again, lifting up to the tips of the fingers. Extend your left leg behind you, pointing through the toes. Give me a crunch, knee to chest around the spine, and step the foot into a lunge position. Tuck your right toes onto the mat and lift that knee into the air, lifting up to the pointer and middle finger, sending chest forward, drawing belly in. Step up to half lift, so right foot steps up to the top of the mat, flattening the back, hands to shins. Gaze is down towards the floor. Shoulders roll away from the ears. Then we fall to forward fold, bending the knees, dropping belly to thighs, letting arms and head hang heavy. And one vertebrae at a time will rise to a standing position. Take your time and let your chin come up from your chest last. So now we're going to move into our flow. I'm going to demo our plank sequence first, or our core sequence that we're going to tie into the practice. I'll demo the first time and then we'll take it together. So just watch me this first time through. So usually we start in a tabletop position and we have a new sequence every week. So we'll start here in tabletop. We're going to start in a bear crawl position. So for bear crawl, we just lift the knees off the mat. A few inches will do, and it's important here not to sort of arch around the spine. Nice flat back, belly into the spine, knees lift off the mat. So we'll start here. We'll step our right toes off to the side, and then we'll step back to bear crawl. Left toes off to the side and back in. So in real time, we'll lift the knees, we'll step, step, one. Step, nice and slow, step, two. We'll step back into plank. We'll lower to forearm plank, hold for 5 seconds, and release to our bellies. So we'll start there. If that gets tired for you or it seems a little difficult, you can skip the side steps, you can drop your knees to the mat if you need and just hop back in. We'll take it one at a time. So let's get started. We're going to start at the top of the mat, feet hips width distance apart, and we're going to tie that sequence into the class. Stand up nice and tall with purpose. Give me a nice deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Next inhale lifts the arms overhead, gaze up to ceiling, and exhale to fold, belly to thighs. Rise to half lift, flattening your back, and step into a plank position and lower the knees to tabletop. Lift into bear crawl, lifting the knees off the mat, and we'll side step in 3, 2, 1. Side step, 1. Side step, 2. Step back to plank, lower to forearm plank, and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release to the mat, tops of feet to mat and hands under shoulders, elbows up to the sky. We'll lift our chest to baby cobra. Use the strength of your core, don't press into your hands, and then press to your rest position, child or puppy, and just take a breath or two here. Deepen the breath. And slowly rise back to tabletop, lifting up to the tips of the fingers. Extend your right leg behind you, point through those toes. Give me a crunch, knee to chest, and step the foot into lunge. Left knee lifts off the mat, lifting up to pointer and middle finger, sending chest forward. Step up to half lift, flattening the back, shoulders draw away from the ears. Fall to forward fold, bend the knees, drop your belly to your thighs, and one vertebrae at a time will rise to a standing position. We're going to take that 2 more times. Inhaling to lift the arms overhead. Exhaling to fold, belly to thighs. Rise to half lift, flatten your back, and step into a plank position. Then lower the knees to tabletop. Lift into bear crawl, knees off the mat, and we'll start in 3, 2, 1. Side step, 1. Side step, 2. Step back to plank, Lower to forearm plank and hold for 5. Don't hold your breath. Nice strong core. And release, hands under shoulders. Lift the chest to baby cobra, use your core and press into your rest position. Taking a breath or two here, deepening the breath. Slowly rise to tabletop and lift up to the tips of the fingers. Extend your left leg behind you, pointing through the toes. Give me a crunch into a lunge position. Step the foot through. Right knee lifts off the mat and we'll step up to half lift, flattening the back. Slowly lower to fold, drop belly to thighs, and roll up to standing, one vertebrae at a time. Last time through, deep breath in, arms overhead. Exhale to fold, belly to thighs. Inhale as you rise, half lift, and exhale as you step back into plank and lower the knees to tabletop. Lift the knees into bear crawl, nice flat back, and we'll start in 3, 2, 1. Side step, 1. Side step, 2, step back into plank, lower to forearm plank. If you want to amp your forearm plank up, you can continue with side step, stepping off the mat. It's up to you. You don't have to add that if you don't like. And we'll release to our belly. Hands under shoulders, breathe in as you lift the chest to baby cobra, and exhale as you find your rest position, child or puppy. Take a breath or two here. Slowly rise back to tabletop. Now, next option to make your crunches a little more difficult if you so choose. Instead of lifting up to the tips of the fingers for our tabletop crunches, you can try keeping your hands flat. And just keep in mind, if you try something and you're like, this is not for me, you can always go back. You don't have to stick with it. So, preparing for those tabletop crunches, we'll extend our right leg behind us. You're up on the tips of the fingers or hands are flat. Give me a crunch in your chest around the spine and step the foot into lunge. We'll step up to half lift, so left knee lifts, step up, flatten back. Lower to fold, belly to thighs, and slowly rise to a standing position. One vertebrae at a time. Feet or hips width distance apart. Lift your arms overhead. And we'll sway side to side, nice and slow. Keep the core active. As hips into one side, arms extend to the other. We don't need much movement, just find a sway. Keep the core active. Slowly lower to folds, belly to thighs. Rise, half lift, and step into plank. Then lower the knees to tabletop. Preparing for tabletop crunches, extend your left leg behind you. Exhale to crunch, knee to chest. Inhale and extend the leg again for 2. Exhale to crunch. Inhale to extend for 3. Exhale to crunch. We're gonna hold this one here, but don't hold the breath. See if you can lift that knee a little higher than you did last time. We're holding here, then step through into lunge. Lift up to the tips of the fingers if you're not there already. And lift the right knee into the air. Bring your hands to your thighs, lifting your chest upright, and extend the arms overhead into Anjaneyasana. Left knee stacked right over the ankle. We're on the ball of the right foot. If the right leg feels really tight, you can put a slight bend in that knee. Otherwise, leg is straight. We're pressing out through the heel. Deep breaths into the chest. Open into warrior 2, so we'll face the right side of the mat. Right heel makes contact with the mat, arms lower to shoulder height, and left knee is still bent right over that ankle. Hips and shoulders are facing the long edge of your mat now, and you're gazing out towards the front of the mat. Breathe here, standing nice and tall in warrior 2. Slowly lower to side angle, so left elbow comes down, right arm frames the ear. You're twisting and lifting your right ribs up to the ceiling. So there's a bit of a twist here as core is activated. Slowly rise back to warrior two. Arms are at shoulder height. We'll do that 2 more times. Exhale as you find side angle. Right arm frames the ear. Breathe in as you rise back to warrior two. Exhale, side angle. Twist those ribs up to the ceiling and inhale, warrior two. Exhale to windmill the arms down into lunge, lifting right heel off the mat. Step back into plank and lower the knees to tabletop. Find your bear crawl, lifting knees off mat, and we'll start in 3, 2, 1. Side step, 1. Side step 2, step into plank, lower forearm plank, and we're holding for 5. You can add those side steps if you like, it's up to you. And release. Inhale to baby cobra, chest lift, shoulders behind the heart, and press into child's or puppy, taking your rest and focusing on the breath. We're starting to build a little more heat in the body. Maybe you appreciate this break a little more. Find the breath. Follow the rise and fall of your chest. Slowly rise to a tabletop position, preparing for tabletop crunches. Left leg extends behind you. Give me a crunch into chest and step the foot right into lunge. Slowly step up to half lift, flattening your back. Lower to fold, belly to thighs. And take your time as you slowly rise back to standing. Inhale as you lift the arms overhead. Hold them here as you exhale, nice and slow. And again, we'll gently sway side to side, keeping that core nice and active, keeping chin lifted from the chest as we sway side to side. Slowly fall into forward fold, belly drops to the thighs. Rise to half lift, flatten the back. Step into plank and drop the knees to tabletop. Preparing for tabletop crunches. Right leg extends this time, excuse me. Exhale to crunch, knee to chest. Inhale to extend. Exhale for 2, knee to chest, lift that knee a little higher. Inhale to extend. Last time, we exhale, we hold here, don't hold the breath. Lift that knee a little higher than you did the last time and step the foot into lunge. Lift up to the tips of the fingers if you're not already there, and lift left knee off the mat. Bring hands to thighs and extend the arms overhead into Anjaneyasana. Few breaths here. Nice and deep into the chest. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Open into warrior two, facing the left side of the mat, left heel down, arms at shoulder height. We're holding here, gaze is out towards the right hand. Stand nice and tall in your warrior pose. As you exhale, find side angle, left arm up to the ear, left ribs up to the ceiling, and we inhale warrior two. Exhale, side angle. Inhale, warrior two. Last time. Exhale to side angle, drawing the belly in. Inhale to lift to warrior two. This exhale moves us into a lunge, lifting left heel off the mat. Step back into plank. Lower the knees to tabletop. And lift to your bear crawl position, starting in 3, 2, 1. Side step, 1. Side step 2. Step back into plank and lower to forearm plank. Holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release, let go. Inhale to lift the chest And exhale to your rest position, taking a moment of stillness here. Focus comes back to the breath. Taking note of how you feel in your body and what your mind is focused on in this moment. There are no right or wrong answers, just what is. Deepen the breath. Slowly rise to a tabletop position, preparing for a tabletop crunch. Extend your right leg behind you. Exhale to crunch, knee to chest, and step the foot into lunge. Slowly step up to half lift, flattening the back. Lower to fold, belly to thighs. And we'll take a few breaths here. Let the head hang heavy. Let's take ragdoll, grabbing onto opposite elbows, allowing gravity to find a little more length throughout the spine. Low belly draws in as hips reach high towards the ceiling. Weights in the balls of the feet. Slowly release your arms and rise to standing, one vertebrae at a time. We're going to move into a bit of balance. So we're going to start with all the weight in our left leg. And with those left toes, I want you to lift them up off the mat, spread them nice and wide, and then bring them back down towards the floor. Tiny micro bend in our standing leg, so don't lock that joint out. Tiny micro bend, and then turn that thigh on. So you should feel the muscles around your knee lift and activate. Nice, strong standing leg. Even the glute is active. We'll slowly draw the right knee in towards the chest, interlacing the fingers, grabbing a hold at the knee, keeping the foot flexed. If this is a struggle for you, you can work here, lowering the toes down to the mat, nice, slow, and controlled as you can, and then lifting the knee back to the hands. If you've got a nice grip and you're holding steady, stand nice and tall, root down through your feet, lift through the chest. Belly is active. Just activating the low core here. We're standing nice and tall, building a strong foundation for our body. Not holding the breath. And slowly step the right foot down to the mat. We'll switch sides. All the weight is in the right foot. Once again, lifting those toes up, spreading them nice and wide. Tiny micro bend, turn on the thigh, activate your glute. Left knee draws in towards the chest, interlacing the fingers and taking hold, drawing the low belly in, standing nice and tall. Holding here. Keeping your gaze focused on one point to help with your balance. Keep that belly active. Keep it drawing in as if you're trying to put on pants that are a little too tight. And slowly step your left foot down to the mat. Bend those knees, give those standing legs a break. If you're not at the top of your mat, make your way there. Feet hips width distance apart. Stand nice and tall with purpose. Once again, at the top of your mat. Draw the breath in through your nose as you lift your arms out at your sides and overhead. And as you exhale, we'll fall to forward fold, belly to thighs. Draw your inhale out as you slowly rise back to standing. And exhale at the top. Again, breath in, arms up. Exhale to fold, belly to thighs. Drawing out the inhale as you rise to standing. And exhale at the top. Last time, deep breath in. Slow breath out as you find forward fold. And we'll pause here. Don't hold the breath. Rise to half lift, flattening your back. And step into plank position. Then lower the knees to tabletop. Our last set of plank work right here. Slowly find your bear crawl position, lifting knees off mat, and we'll start in 3, 2, 1. Side step, 1. Side step 2. Find your plank, forearm plank. We're gonna hold this last one for 15 seconds. If you're tired, you can lower down early. If not, you're holding with me, not holding the breath. I've already started counting and we're almost done. We're holding here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and release. Letting go onto the mat. Bring your arms along the sides of your body, palms face up, and turn your head to one side so you can rest on your cheek. Take a nice deep breath in through your nose. As you exhale out through your mouth, melt onto the mat. Letting go completely. Let the heels fall out. And we'll take a short rest here. If you want a deeper stretch for your neck, you can turn your head so you're resting more on your ear than you are your cheek. Wiggle the shoulders away from the ears. Slowly turn your head to the opposite side, starting on your cheek first. Then move to the ear, if you did so on the opposite side. Slowly bring your chin to the mat. And turn your hands so they're face down towards the floor. Draw the legs together like you have one leg, so everything touches, toes, heels, calves, and thighs, just like a snake. As you inhale through the nose, you'll lift your chest, pressing back and down on your hands, drawing the belly in, and then exhale, chest to mat. Inhale to lift the chest, pressing down and back on the hands. Exhale to lower. One last time, drawing the breath in, drawing the belly in, and exhale. Bend the knees so toes point up towards the ceiling, and slowly windshield wiper the feet, letting them fall side to side. Be gentle, don't throw the feet side to side. Keep some control, nice and slow. Breaking up any tension we might have built in our low backs. Then slowly return the legs to the mat. Place your hands underneath your shoulders and press into your rest position. If you're in child's pose, we'll take a rounded variation this time. Arms along the sides of the body, palms face up, and forehead to mat. Letting the shoulders melt down towards the floor. And take a few deep, meaningful breaths here. Slowly rise to a seated position and swing your legs down the length of your mat, flexing the feet. Start by lifting the arms overhead, dropping chin to chest. Then round the spine into rounded back stretch, placing hands at the knees, pointing elbows out to either side of the mat. And we'll hold for a few breaths here. Again, melt those shoulders away from the ears. And if you're feeling a lot of sensation, which is completely normal, try to draw the breath to that space and allow your breath to help relax the muscles. Nice and slow, lift the spine upright into staff pose, placing hands on either sides of your hips, finding some length through the spine before relaxing to a neutral position. If you're not already seated in the center of your mat, go ahead and make your way there now. Bending your knees, planting your feet on the mat, and hold on to the back of your thighs. Sit up nice and tall, sending your chest forward towards the legs, and you want to make sure you're grounded on your sits bones and not your tailbone. Start by walking the toes in a little closer to the body. You'll start to feel your core turn on as you keep the length in your spine, shoulders dropped away from the ears. Option 1 is to stay here. Option 2 is to float the feet off the mat, keeping the heels in line with the knees. Chest still stays lifted, option 2. Option 3, the hardest, most advanced, is to extend your arms out at your sides, palms face up towards the ceiling. We're still working on our core here, and if your arms are out, you're working a little bit on your balance as well, even if your hands are still in the back of your thighs. Just make sure you're breathing, and we're holding here for about another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. If the feet lifted, bring them back to the mat, and if you had the toes walked in, walk them out. Hands are on the back of the thighs, and one vertebrae at a time, we'll roll down until we're flat on our back. Extend the legs down the length of your mat, lift your arms overhead, give me a nice long stretch through the tips of the fingers and the toes, and then relax your arms down by your sides. Draw both knees in towards your chest. Hold on at the shins, pulling thighs close to body, feet side by side. If that's uncomfortable on your knees for any reason, you can hold on to the back of the thighs instead. We're going to stay here for just a little bit, giving a nice massage to our organs, but also a great stretch for the low back. Maybe the eyes gently close as we're closing out the practice. Maybe rocking gently side to side. Then keep the knees drawn in towards the chest, but release your arms to the floor at shoulder height, palms face up. Slowly let the knees fall to the right side of the floor into reclined spinal twist. Knees are in line with the hips, and head gently turns to the left. Our last pose before our final rest position. Start to draw your focus to your breath now. Try closing the eyes if they're not already closed. Relaxing the brow and the muscles around the eyes. Slowly draw the knees to center and let them fall over to the left as head slowly turns to the right. Slowly draw the knees back to center and wrap the arms around the legs one last time, either below the knees or on the back of the thighs. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose, lift the head to meet the knees, hold the breath here, squeeze the body tight, nice and tight, toes, fingers, muscles in the face, arms and legs, and as you exhale, release. Laying flat on the mat, separating the legs and arms nice and wide, take up a lot of space. Let the toes fall out. The eyes gently close. Take one more deep breath in through the nose. And as you exhale out the mouth, release everything onto the mat. Drawing your attention back to your breath. And through these next 2 minutes, just follow every rise and fall of your chest. Every inhale, imagine you're drawing in a positive energy, a productive energy into your body. And as you exhale, you release energy and emotions that no longer serve you. Slowly begin to deepen your breath. Start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Welcome movement back into your body. And start to slowly roll over to the right side of your body, taking a moment of stillness on your side, maybe using your arm to support your head. Keeping your eyes closed or your gaze low to the floor, slowly press yourself up into a seated position. As always, to end class, we take 3 cleansing breaths together as one, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Today we'll take a 4-count breath, so we'll break the inhale into a count of 4 and the exhale into a count of 4. If you notice after the first round of breath that count comes easily to you, try extending the count to a count of 5. We'll all start on an exhale, drawing all the breath out of the body. Start to inhale through the nose for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Breath in, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. Breath in, last time, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, and 4. Take a second to thank yourself and thank your body for getting you through this practice. Thank your mind for your patience. And I want to thank you for letting me lead you on this practice. There is a light within me that honors the light that exists within you. So thanks so much for practicing with me today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you're feeling sore the next morning. That's always my goal. If you have questions, comments, concerns, please reach out to me and I'll do my best to get back to you. If you enjoy this class, a new version of this class airs every Wednesday at 8 a.m. If you're looking for something a little easier on the body without the core work, but you still like my style, I teach a vinyasa yoga that is aired every Monday at 8 a.m. And also I want to share with you guys that are UMBC students, I will be teaching a socially distanced class in person on campus in Erickson Field on November 1st. That is a Sunday at 11 a.m. You do have to sign up. I think you can do so through my UMBC. And there's a limit, so it's like 25 people only. So if you're interested in that, I suggest that you get on it. If you are not following us yet on Instagram, what are you doing? Follow us at UMBC Rec. Keep up with all of our content, and follow us on YouTube as well at UMBC Rec TV. Thanks so much again for joining me, and I hope to see you next week.